And they'll want to see how you formatted the matrix. And then they may ask you to multiply it. Second reason for doing this is when you do physically have to do the multiplication problem, having it written in this proper format is going to make it easier for you to put the information in to your calculator. Let me see if I never leave enough room. I inevitably don't leave enough room for something because my handwriting's not really the best. So 215, then we have 20 and 20, and then we have 12 and 5. So that's what our message matrix would look like. We have the message that's translated, that's a horizontal strip. The message matrix is the format for being able to do the multiplication problem.
Why did you use you used 5 twice.
I don't know. Where did I use 5 twice?
29, 13, 5, 5, 0. It should be 0, 9, then 14. 14, 0.
29, 13, 5. Oh, down here?
9, yeah.
So, okay, so that, I did that on purpose. No, I didn't. That's a very simple mistake that can be made. But see what happens? It screws up the order of what letters go where. And that means that the message you send to the person at the other end, when they unscramble it, it's going to look like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It's not going to represent anything reasonable. So I had a 5, and I should have had my 0 up here. So I'm pretty much wrong almost the rest of the problem. Not quite, okay? So it's 5, so I have a 0, then I have my 9. So I'm just going to erase and put them back into where it should be put in, okay? Some of those letters were in the right place. So 0, 9, 14 is paired with 0, 1's paired with 0, 2's paired with 15, 20's paired with 20, and 12's paired with 5. There's still room for you to make simple mistakes. So the more work you can show me, the better off it happens to be. And again, this problem on your test is dedicated to a whole page. We give you a whole page of space to be able to play with it. So you don't have to write tiny Bible print. You can spread it out and organize it real nicely. Next level then, since we've got it formatted properly, is to follow through with the multiplication problem. So we're going to be taking that 2, 5, 3, 4 matrix now and multiplying it by the other matrix. You are not going to be expected to do this by hand on the test. So I'm thinking that because you're all smart people, aren't you going to stick that into one of your available matrices, say matrix A? And aren't you going to stick that into matrix B? And aren't you going to let the calculator multiply for you?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do just that. Additional practice. So we go into the matrix menu, we edit matrix, or we create a new matrix. For the most part, we're going to keep the number of matrices that we have small because we'll forget what goes where. Matrix A is 2 by 2, but it's not the right matrix. So I have to not redefine its size, but I have to redefine its elements. 2, 5, 3, and 4. Still 2 by 2, at least I didn't have to create it from scratch. Now I need to put in a matrix B, and I already know that it's 2 by 8. I can go right back into the matrix menu because I'm still in the editing phase in the calculator, so I don't have to quit on this stage. Any other stage, I got to quit to get back to the home screen to refresh the matrix menu. And now I operate matrix B. Matrix B is also going to be a 2 by 8 matrix, but it doesn't have the right ingredients inside of it yet. Now, this is the reason why we don't want you to leave that message in the long horizontal strip, because it has to go into the matrix in a very specific order. And if you try to take that strip message and use every other character, you get out of line one place, and what happened to me is what's going to happen to you, and then the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But it's still wrong. Okay? So 20, 13, 0, 14, 1. And you can almost be dummy proofing yourself as you're going along the line here. 2, 20, and 12. When I put in that 12 at the very end of this row, When I put in that value of 12 and entered that value, it automatically kicked me back to the beginning of the next row, which is a comforting phase because I know I got the right size matrix. So 9, 5, another 9, double zeros, a 15, a 20, and a 5. All my matrix stuff is in, but now I would scroll backwards and double check to make sure that I didn't have a big fat finger moment. So those numbers are paired together properly, those are paired together properly, those are paired together, those are paired, those are paired, those are paired, those are paired, and those are paired. So we did the formatting properly. Now we're ready to let the calculator do its thing. We do all the caretaking thing, all the management stuff. The calculator does all the brute force work. Now we do have to quit back to the home screen, pull up matrix menu, pull into play matrix number 1, and tell the calculator that you want to multiply that. You may choose to use a multiplication symbol if you want. If you don't use a multiplication symbol, it's okay because anytime two symbols are next to one another, it's implied as a multiplication. So if you didn't want to put that in there, this would be just fine as well. That still multiplies A times B. So you don't need to see that symbol that sits in there. It's going to give you the same thing if I did that or if I put the multiplication symbol in there. Either way I did that, I'm going to get the same results. Now, this is what is received at the other end on someone's computer or memory of their cell phone, but that's not the way it's displayed to the screen. So you might be asked to put in what the encoded matrix looks like. We have the message matrix that's now been hidden a little bit better into an encoded matrix. So you may be asked to type this. 85 is paired with 96. 51 is paired with 59. 45 is paired with 36. There's no reason you can't put these in as vertical pairs as you're doing that, but you're not going to be able to see all of them at one time. As you get closer to the end, notice the ellipses on the extreme right-hand side. Tells you that the calculator can still be scrolled farther out, and you can get to the point where you can see the rest of the message that's in there. 2 is paired with 3, 79 with 66, 140 is paired with 140, 49 is paired with 56. You don't see that on your end of the receiving of the text message. You don't see that on the other end of the screen if it's been encrypted, but the person that has to decrypt it sees it in this fashion. They see 85, 96, 51, 59, 45, 26, 28, 42, 2, 3, 79, 66, 140, 140, 49, 56. There are some problems where they will ask you to actually type that, not in a matrix format, but type it out horizontally. If they give you the blocks will already have commas underneath there, but if they tell you to type the numbers and separate them with commas, then you'd have to put the commas in, obviously, because notice that some of these things were 2-digit numbers, some were 1-digit numbers, some were 3-digit numbers. So kind of like letters of the alphabet, we have to be able to figure out where they begin and where they end. So this is what the person reads on their side of the screen. And if it didn't decrypt it for you, which cell phones do for you when you send that message and emails and stuff like that, then they would have to decrypt it themselves. So to decode this message now means that we're going to be taking it apart. If we take it apart or we reverse the process,